भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. O Lord, please bless us with a good health. May all our body and sense organs are in a healthy condition. May we shall see good. May we shall see here all the good and auspicious things. O the Lord Indra, Varuna, Shashanka, and other gods and goddesses, please bring auspiciousness to all of us. Om, peace, peace, peace. Dear devotees, we were discussing Brahma Bhava. That is, as much as possible, we should be in the, conscious, in the self-conscious state. Prior to that, if you remember, so the author, Adi Shankaracharya, said that it is better we should shun the notion of body, or I am the body. Knowingly or unknowingly, many times we keep on thinking that I am the body. Something happens to body, we get immediately disturbed, as if it happened to me. We always use the sentence, my body, but we are behaving as if I am the body. So what is the anecdote, or what is the antidote for this problem? The author said that as much as possible, try to, think that you are the self. Soak the mind, yourself, in the self. That is the, easiest way. I think there's a beautiful story, I don't know whether I told you or not. Once a wise man, here wise man means a person who has experienced the self, or who had a very strong conviction that he is the self and not the body and mind. And he was old, and he also had age-old ailments, and his body was struggling or suffering, but he was happy. One fine day, he called his kith and kin, and he said, look, now the time has come to close the screen, to put the screen down. What does it mean? Means death is approaching. And he says that just enjoy how the curtain falls. But only please don't ask me, repeat once more. See, he's not getting agitated that he's going to die and his life is going to end. He's telling in a figurative sense or in a poetic sense that the curtain is going to fall, means he's going to die. And even at that spur of moment, he's making a, fun that please don't ask me to repeat once more, which I can't do it. And by saying that, with laughingly and smile on his face, he left his mortal coil. So this is the greatness of the self-knowledge. The problems may come and may go, but you will be unperturbed. So when you soak yourself in the God consciousness or self-consciousness, this is what you are going to get. Now, the 24th, the spiritual practice, spiritual technique has been given by the author is Buddha Janair Vada Paritejjata. If you need a wisdom, if you seek wisdom, what you should do? We should not argue with the wise people, that is the knowers of Brahman. Then does it mean we should follow simply blindly? Because blind faith can never be blind actually. Real faith can never be blind. But anyhow, we have got a usage, blind faith. So we should not question, we should not ask anything, and just whatever the teachers say or the wise people say, should we follow simply as they say? So does this author meant that? No. What author means that you are free to question, you are free to discuss, but don't argue. There's a very subtle between these things. One is questioning for knowing the truth. Sometimes people do come and question us. While questioning, we can understand whether they are interested to know things or whether they are trying to test our knowledge or whether trying to prove their own views. So when we approach wise people, what should be our attitude? Our attitude should be with all humbleness and with all sincerity, we should try to get some knowledge or the wisdom which have been acquired in the due course of time of their life. If you argue, what happens? That means you are thinking, a person is thinking that he or she is right, he or she knows everything, and so whatever he or she thinks it is right and he or she is all-knowing, then there is no question of you have not kept your mind open and you can't earn any more new knowledge, or you can't correct your wrong perceptions or wrong ideas. That's why in the argument, there's a sense of pride. Because of that, our vision, our understanding, our comprehension, everything is blocked. So from this angle, the author is saying that we should not argue. We should not argue with wise people and also with the foolish people also, because it is a waste of time. Then how should we approach the wise people? If you ask, they say that you should approach the wise people with all humbleness. So I would like to know this, sir. Will you mind, please? Can you share your wisdom, share your thoughts? So if you remember the Tadviddi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya Upadekshante Te Gnanam Gnaninas Tattvadarshinaha. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, understand the supreme knowledge by approaching wise teachers with humbleness, by asking relevant questions, and by rendering service to them. The wise who have realized the truth will impart knowledge to you. So when we are humble, the wise people will feel that he or she is fit or right for the knowledge and they impart. Otherwise, they pack us. If they think that we are not humble enough, means humbleness is a sign for the open mind. So then when we are humble, that means we are open for the receiving knowledge, then they spend their time and energy. Otherwise, what do? They pack us saying that either they do not know or they will behave foolishly and they will ask us to, they will make us to leave. This is what happens in many of the great people's life. All the great saints, prophets, incarnations life. This is what happens with many, selfish or mean-minded people's, incidents. They think that, oh, these people, they do not know. It is not so, because they don't see the sincerity and humbleness. And there is a beautiful Subhashita. The first line of Subhashita, the Sanskrit couplet goes like this: Baladapi Subhashitam Graham. Even if the good advice or wise words, even if it comes from a child, accept it. Avaduta had a 24 gurus. Even the crow, the dog, and the tree or the nature, everything, he learned life lessons from them even. So if you have got an open mind, we can learn lessons. But if you're open and sincere, we do not know God, how he teaches. If you have got some question, if you are open-minded, you can get answers even from a small boy or a girl. So that open mind is necessary. Now, we'll be going to the, I think, fourth verse. Fourth verse, first 2 or 3 spiritual practices the author is giving regarding the food. Because food is very important for all of us, for our existence, isn't it? So he's speaking of the food. 2-3 things is, I think, in the fourth sloka is, or fourth verse is continuation. The first 2 spiritual practices, let us take together this time. Kshud Vyadishya Chikitsatam Pratidinam Bhikshaushadam Bhujyatam. Kshud Vyadishya Chikitsatam. treat the disease called hunger. How? Bhikshaushadam bhujyatam. Beg the food, go for alms, begging alms, and get the food and consume it as medicine. Now, interestingly, we have got different type of diseases we have heard. Maybe like fever, or maybe AIDS, or you can cancer, or so many types of diseases we have heard. Interestingly, here the author is mentioning that treat the disease called hunger. Hunger is a natural biological phenomena. Because of that, we consume food, and because of that, our body, mind, everything is getting nourished actually. If so, then why that author is considering it, or why he is naming the hunger as a disease, which is very, very important. So he's saying that hunger is a disease and food is the remedy. Then what, why is he saying that? There's an interesting, a thought and idea behind this. None of us, we like disease. No one wants disease. We fear and we want to avoid and we don't want, isn't it? And at the same time, in the disease, what happens? You will feel uneasiness. The same feeling also you will feel hunger. When the hunger starts, if you take a food, it is okay. Otherwise, if you cannot take the food, if you cannot get the food when you are hunger, after some time, you will feel weak. You may feel weak. Or if it is a sugar patient, his or her sugar goes down. It will have its cascading effects. And if you don't, consume food for a long time, you may get acidity or gastric problem, or you may get headache and whatnot. Malnourishment, if it continues, all these things happens. And body struggles. And because body is struggling, then your mind also struggles. You may feel morose, you may feel weak, and your mind also will feel weak. There's an interesting story in Upanishads. When the student approached the guru to learn what is Brahman, what is self, he said, Annam Brahmeti Vejanat. Worship the Anna, worship the food as Brahman. When the guru said for the disciple, he listened, he started thinking how this food can be the Brahman. He started thinking, he took some time. The guru, since guru has told it might be there some truth in that, let me think. Then because he already know by this time, what is the self? The self is nitya, eternal, indestructible. It is there always, like past, present, and future, all these things. But in the case of food, it is not so. It is mortal in nature. So how can the food be Brahman? He thought for 2 or 3 days, he couldn't get clarity. Then he approached with humbleness and he said, Sir, please excuse me for my ignorance. Can you tell me, can you explain clearly, why did you say that the annam, the food is Brahman? Then the guru laughed at him and he said, okay, 2 or 3 days you fast. You don't take any food. Then the disciple followed the instructions of the guru, teacher, and he didn't consume food for 2 or 3 days. Then second or third day, whatever the Vedic mantras were taught to him, he was asked to chant. And in those days, there were no books. So they used to listen to guru and they had to memorize actually. That day, when the disciple was chanting the Vedic mantras, in between, there were gaps. The disciple was not able to remember everything easily. Some particular places he was also forgetting. And he was feeling difficulty to remember. After some time, Guru asked him to stop the chanting and he asked, why is it happening? Then the disciple asked his apologies and he thought a while and he said, Sir, I'm feeling weak because I didn't consume food for 2 or 3 days. So I'm feeling weak, or my body is feeling weak. As a result, my mind is not working properly. So I think that's the reason I couldn't chant the Vedic mantras properly, just like earlier, previous days, how I used to chant. The guru said, yes, this is what I wanted to teach you, make you understand. Now you see, we eat food, no doubt, to quench our hunger. But the food is a form of energy. And because of that energy, the lack of energy, your mind is not working. Now the self is also consciousness when it comes to the low stages. In the grosser stages, it is also energy, it is also matter. So that's why food is also can be considered as the Brahman or the consciousness. So the Taittiriya Upanishad goes much in detail. Just I'm giving the nutshell. So here, the hunger. Hunger is a disease. Why? Because if you do not take care of the hunger, then you will feel weak. You will feel difficulty. You will suffer, which happens during the disease. That's the one thing. And consider or treat the hunger as a disease. And what is the antidote? What is the way to treat this disease? Food is a medicine to treat this disease. That's what he's telling. Pratidinam bhikshaushadam bhujyatam. Every day, go and beg the alms and get the food. So food is a medicine. So food is a medicine is a very, very important thing which we all should think about it. We all eat food. One is to quench our hunger or thirst. Food and water, and it nourishes our body. It makes us healthy. It gives energy to work. All these things are fine. But mostly we eat food for taste or to fulfill the tongue's desire. Oh, today I'm not going to eat. Why? Because the food is not tasty. Or I ate too much today. Why? Because food was delicious. I was supposed to eat. I didn't eat the calculated amount of food. Why? Because food was not delicious. And I ate and I overate. Why? Because food was delicious. Now, both of these things are not right. Natyashnatostu yogosti na chaikanta manashnataha. Scripture says yoga is not possible for the people who overeat or do not eat at all. So what we should do? Follow the middle path. We eat food to fulfill our desires, to quench the desire of the tongue. If you consider food as a medicine, then what do we do? Because the food, the tonic, particular tonic is very sweet, doesn't mean that we don't take the tonic in abundance. We don't consume the tonic even for maybe one full bottle, 100 ml or 200 ml. We take in the limited quantity as prescribed by the doctor, how much ever it may be delicious. So similarly, when you start taking the food as required for your body, then what happens? You don't suffer. You don't suffer from obesity. You don't suffer from diabetes mostly. You don't suffer from overweight. You don't suffer from BP, sugar, and whatnot. So many problems are coming today in our unhealthy habits. By overeating or not eating at all. Or we don't take the food in in the stipulated time. One day we take lunch at 1 p.m. and one day 3 p.m., one day 2 p.m., one day 3:30 or 4 p.m. Similarly, night also. At least in the Europe, it is more controlled in the particular stipulated time they take. But whereas in India, it is not so. Because of the workload or work pressure or whatever, many of them, they won't take the food in a right time. Because of that, their body has to suffer. They spend health for wealth, and afterwards they spend wealth for health. What a tragedy. And also, how this hunger can make people to suffer. We all know that during drought, famine, how people suffer, and floods, how people suffer for want of food. And in India, way back during the British rule, we suffered because of them, their creation, we suffered and millions of people died. Similarly, in Ireland also, during the World War and before that, they took away all the food, whatever the food and grains available in the Ireland from the Britishers. And here also, 1 million people in Ireland, they starved to death. So why food is a disease, very well we can understand. Also, there is an interesting, there's a story in Mahabharata. Ashwatthama, we know the Ashwatthama's father and mother is Drona and Krupa. So they were poor, poor people. He was, Dronacharya was well known for his knowledge, no doubt, but he was poor. He comes from present Dehradun in India. One day, Ashwatthama had been to his friend's house. So the friend's mother, out of love and compassion, she gave a glass of milk. This young boy or maybe child, Ashwatthama, consumed the milk and he felt it was very delicious. It is very tasty. And he said, Mother, it is so nice and tasty and delicious. What is this called? Then the mother, that lady said, oh, this is called milk. But then he said, is it so, mother? Because when my mother gives milk, when I ask for a milk, she also gives a milk. In our house, the milk is not so tasty. It is not that delicious. How it can be? So the elder lady, she knew that the financial condition of the Ashwatthama's house. Then she said, probably, my dear, your house doesn't have a milk. Your mother is giving something else in the place of milk. That is the reason you have never tasted the real milk. Ashwatthama felt very bad that he has been cheated and even he couldn't have a glass of milk. He ran to house and he started demanding with her mother for an answer with the krupa that what were you giving till yesterday or till today in the name of the milk. The krupa, because of the poverty, she was giving when you cook the rice. When we, what do you say, when we cook the rice, extra water is there. When we remove that extra water, that water, which is white in color, so she used to prepare sugar, she used to add some sugar, and that water, the rice boiled water, was given to Ashwatthama in the name of the milk till yesterday. And Ashwatthama, out of child nature, just he also consumed that rice boiled water, or ganji we say in Canada, as a milk. And today he consumed the real milk. And when he went and when he asked Mother Krupa, why did you cheat me by giving something else in the name of milk? She was on tears. She cried. And she said, my dear son, please excuse me. We are poor and we don't have, we don't have enough, we don't have neither cow nor money to get the milk. And so I was till yesterday or till today, I was giving the, the water which was, when we boil the rice, whatever we remove the water. So I used to add sugar and in the name of milk, I used to give. That is because of our poverty. Then he understood, and slowly, when they came to Hastinapura, or when the Drona became the teacher of the Pandavas and Kauravas, then he got slowly money or wealth, and their problem was solved. And even same thing in the Kuchela. Kuchela was a pious Brahmin. He had 4 or 5 or 6 children, and they were also grief-stricken because of the poverty. So the children didn't have enough food. Because of the hunger, they were all suffering. And also, how much we should eat? This is one big question many people do ask in the name of spirituality. People ask in the Western countries nowadays, they have become health consciousness and they all take in a calculated amount of food. So many people ask how much we should eat, what we should eat, how much we should eat. So Ayurveda, hundreds of years before, they have given a very general calculation, overall general calculation. They say that Purayet ashanenartham trutiya udakena tu vayoho sancharanartham tu chaturtam avasheshayet. Means the meaning goes like that. One should fill half of the stomach with the food, and 1/3 or 1/4 with the water, and leave remaining 1/4 for the movement of air for proper digestion. Means if you consider your stomach as a circle and you divide into 4 parts. So first 2 parts you fill with the food, and next 1/4 should be filled with water, and 1/4 should be left free, so that there should be enough air will be there, and it will help for your digestion. So here the Ayurveda is giving very clear prescription how much we should eat. We all will feel, when we feel our stomach is full, then we may stop. We start thinking to whether to stop the food or not, which is very wrong practice. So we should only fill half of our belly, half of our stomach with the food, and 1/4 with the juice or a liquid, and 1/4 should be kept free so that our digestion goes properly. Why many of us, we have got gastric problems, acidity problems, and indigestion Why? Because either we don't eat in time, or we eat a lot of spicy food, junk food, or oily food, unhealthy food basically, or otherwise we eat too much. So when you consider food as a medicine, then you will be calculative in taking the food. When you are calculating in taking the food, then what happens? Your health is good, your body condition is more or less it is good, so that you will be able to work, you will be able to meditate, you will be able to do the actions, whatever you think. And pratidinam bhikshaushadam bhujyatam. Daily consume daily consume the food from the begging as a medicine. Now, why is the author is asking to beg for food? Of course, this is meant for mainly for monks. It is not for householders. Because in the olden days, the monks were supposed to go 3 houses or 5 houses, and whatever they get, one time, whatever they get, they're supposed to accept, and they're supposed to eat and fill their belly. Otherwise, what happens? If you spend your time in earning money and food, then most of your time, precious time, goes in there, goes in vain, and you can't spend your time and energy for spiritual practices. So simple living and high thinking. Have just 1 or 2 pair of clothes and maybe live in the forest, live in the temple or in the cave or in the bank of the river, and just go and get some food from the people, either 3 houses or 5 houses. Whatever you get it, it may be little and if you get enough food in 1 or 2 houses itself, then you should come back and eat it for one time and spend most of the time in contemplation, in seeking God, in searching for truth. That's why it was prescribed for the monks. And also it is called Madhukari Vritti. Madhukari Vritti means like Madhu. Madhu means what? Honey. Honey goes to, honey sits on different flowers and it collects the honey from different flowers and it creates the honeycomb. So similarly, monks were not supposed to get the enough food or abundant food in one house because that can tax the householders. So you get little food from 1 or 2 or 3 houses or maximum 5 houses. And you come back and whatever you get, you eat and have a water and keep quiet. Now the question comes, okay, you went for 5 houses, you didn't get food at all, then what you should do? Then you should take it as a God's will and you should come and that they just have consumed the water and keep fasting and you should not go for many houses. This is what even we do when we take our akar robes, monastic robes in the Belur Mutt. The first 3 days, we were not supposed to enter the kitchen dining hall at all. So no food is given, supplied from the Belur Mutt, our head monastery. Then what when we get a akar robes, our guru will be giving a cloth which is used for begging. So we go with that and we ask Narayano Harihi in the house, whatever they give. They may give puffed rice, they may give lentils, they may give vegetables, they may give rice or chapati or whatever they give, we take it. Either 1 or 3 or 5 maximum. So if we get enough food, fine, you are lucky. If you don't get, then whatever it is God's will, we accept and we come back. And whatever we have got, in that we take and we keep quiet. We feel enough. So that is the life of which was prescribed by our scriptures in the for the monks. Now the question may come for all of us, Swamiji, during monastic, you get when akar robes, when you get, you go for begging, you said, then but why you don't do every day? Yes. Why? Because Uttarakhand in the northern India, many monks, even today, they do that. Swami Vivekananda, when he was traveling in the northern part of India, he saw because of, for begging, monks used to spend a lot of time. Because in the Himalayas, especially the very few people and villages are very far. So to get even 1 or 2 houses, 3 houses, they had to walk for a few kilometers, get the food and have it. And for that, good amount of time is spent. And sometimes since you don't get food in 3 or 5 houses, again you come and fast. That may continue for few days or several days. And because of that, your body suffers. All of these things he observed and he said, this present age, our bodies are fragile and you spend a lot of time in these things, then your body goes in vain, or it becomes weak or disease, and you will not be able to get much of spiritual practices. And instead of that, you take the work, service work. When you take a service work and when you give service to the society, in turn, society will take care of your needs, so that you live in a congregation and where there can be cooked and offer the food to the God, and you start eating. That's how we do. I mean, except that 3 days, and whenever we go to northern India, and whenever the monks, they think they go for begging. Otherwise, we get food in our kitchen and we eat it. And rest of the time, as much as possible, we spend our time in contemplation, and rest of the time in a scriptural reading and services. So instead of being a parasite, we shall serve the country, thinking that everyone is the manifestation of the God, so that we are not become parasites. We are not just living on the country's economy or a people's earning. In turn, we are giving the service to the people, either spiritual service, educational service, health service, and famine, drought, famine. We do a lot of service on Krishna mission monks. So that's how our life is taken care. Even now, traditionally, even the monks, if you go for a food, even to the devotee's house, for example, traditional monks, even the monks and devotees, both of them, they say, oh, when are you going to get your bhiksha? The devotees are serving the food for a monk in a devotee's house, in their house, but still they use the term, can you come and get the bhiksha? Can you come and receive the bhiksha from our house? Why? Because of the tradition. And Sri Ramakrishna also used to say, if you can get the food, monk, if you can get the food from the begging, it is more, what do you say, pure food. So nothing, no harm can happen from that. Now, and also then one more, I mean, point also can be thought that, now for an example, householders. Householders are not encouraged to beg for food. Generally, they are supposed to work and get the food in here. Now, even say we are, I mean, we are working and we are earning our bread and butter. From that point of view, then this particular teaching, should we take or not, or how should we take? So we are working and we are earning our bread and butter, no doubt. But our food has been supplied or has been given by the God or the nature. So we are seeking, we are begging, or we are seeking or begging the food either from the God or from the nature also. From that angle, everyone is beggar. So that can be thought. Now, this ahara, food, whatever I was saying, that ahara, the Sanskrit term for food is ahara. Ahara means it is not only the physical food what we consume. And in Bhagavad Gita says, you should not eat too much, you should not eat at all. You should take a middle path. And it should not be too much oily, and it should not be too much fatty, and it should not be too much spicy, and it should not be stale food. Rather, it's a hygienic, good, I mean, what you say, the food which makes your body, mind light, and it doesn't make you drowsy. Such type of food should be taken. Okay. Food means, or ahara means, it is not the only physical food. Adi Shankaracharya, when he's writing a commentary in the Bhagavad Gita, he tells that ahara means whatever you consume from your 5 sense organs of knowledge, panchagnanendriyas, everything is considered as food. For an example, you are watching a movie, you are watching a cricket match, you are watching a rugby or football match or Olympic games, even that is also food. You are hearing a classical music, or you are hearing a pop music, even that is also food. Then you are smelling something, fragrance of a food, fragrance of a flower, fragrance of something else, even that is also food. Then you are eating, or you are consuming liquor, you are consuming water, you are consuming different delicacies, that is also food. Now you are feeling something through your skin, even that is also food. So whatever you consume, whatever you receive from these 5 sense organs of knowledge, everything is considered as food. And also, while consuming food, the scriptures say that you should not think erratic thinking, some uneasy feelings or wrong feelings, or angry, pride, and thinking wrong about someone. And if you eat food, then that food, your body may get nourished, but your mind and your personality will not be getting nourished. Even other times also, you are not supposed to think wrongly, but while taking food especially, it should be calm. And while consuming food, either you think of God, or you entertain your mind with holy thoughts, good thoughts, and you should eat. Then what happens? Because of that, your personality gets well nourished. That's the reason in the olden days, when they used to sit and eat, they used to talk either good things or they used to maintain silence, observe silence. But unfortunately, today we'll be seeing something in the TV or television or in the mobile, and we'll be eating. And what we eat and how much we eat, we don't know at all. That is not prescribed according to the scriptures. So while we eating, we should think good thoughts. We should entertain our mind with the holy thoughts, or God-centered thoughts, or self-conscious centered thoughts, and we should consume the food. And we should be also discriminative about the food. We also say same thing. Now you are watching television, or you are watching the YouTube videos, or you are watching TikTok videos or reels. So that should be also unnecessarily, you should not watch too much so that your mind becomes weak. Many of the time, we are unable to concentrate of youngsters today. Why? Because they spend a lot of time in watching television, watching social medias like Facebook or TikTok or Reels. Because of that, their mental power has gone down. Mentally, they have become weak. Because of that, their concentration has been reduced. That's the reason 15-20 minutes, even sometimes, some of the youngsters, they can't see a television with the same channel. They'll be keep on changing. If nothing, simply they will be keep on moving their fingers or mobiles or whatever. That shows their restlessness. Food is physical food should be taken in a like a medicine. So similarly, whatever you receive from your five sense organs of knowledge, even that also should be taken as medicine. Means you should be in a controlled way. You can't be indiscriminately. If you eat, you will suffer. Similarly, if you allow your sense organs indiscriminatively to go freely, then what happens? You will suffer. Yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. It's a beautiful saying from the Peace of Pilgrim. So living in present is what real bhiksha vritti. Begging is what really living in the present. Because the beggar never thinks of yesterday and he doesn't bother too much. He doesn't bother about tomorrow also. He lives at present. If that day, if he gets a food and if his hunger has been taken care of that day, he's fine. He's happy. He eats and he sleeps with a snoring. Oh, tomorrow whether will I get a food or not? If I don't, what will I do? The real beggar, I'm saying that. Of course, beggar has become a profession, and many countries, and especially in India, we hear very interesting stories that beggars, after their death, we come to know that they had thousands of rupees or lakhs of rupees. I mean, I'm not speaking about such people. In reality, the real beggar, he doesn't think about, he doesn't brood about the past, he's not perturbed by the future, he lives at the present. Now, it is one more teaching, the 27th teaching. The author is saying that Swadhanam natu yachatam. You should not seek delicious food. What does it mean? You should not seek delicious food. Then you should, okay, whatever comes, whatever is there, just you cook something and eat something. Does it mean like that? No. Author is not intended to convey such type of message. He's only meaning that you should not just eat for taste or a tongue's purpose. You should eat, you should take the food as a medicine. You should be, I mean, we should cook nicely. It can be delicious. It should be delicious, no doubt. But just don't eat only for deliciousness at all. Because food is consumed for your nourishing the body, nourishing the mind. And also it need, I mean, because your body and mind needs energy to live and to work and all. So the main intention should be for nourishing your body, not for the taste. Jitam sarvam jite rase. One who has conquered the tongue has conquered everything. One who has conquered tongue has conquered everything. Means one who has controlled his tongue, I mean, taste buds, then what happens? He is discriminative in eating so that neither he eats too much nor he doesn't eat less at all. So he takes care of his body. Similarly, when he controls tongues means he has got a control over his speech. He doesn't talk too much. He talks too much. And because of that, he becomes a nonsense for people, and his energy, prana shakti, is getting wasted. Some people, they don't talk at all. They always keep numb, and they'll be suffering inside, or people will not be able to understand. They're not friendly in nature. So that extreme should not be there also. So we should eat for stomach sake. I mean, stomach sake in the sense health sake, not for the tongue sake. I like pizza. One or two pieces I took fine. Because I like pizza and it was so tasty and delicious, I ate 4 or 5 pieces or the entire, what do you say, the circle. Because of that, what happens? I got stomach pain. Or for an example, in India, I'm saying, like, what do you say, mirchi bonda, the chili bonda, for example. It is a spicy and it is fried, I mean, with the oil, and it is so delicious. And you took one or two, fine. And you, while talking, and it was so delicious, and you consumed 5 or 6, then you got a loose motion, dysentery, or you got stomach ache and whatnot. So when they say swadannam natu yachatam, you should not seek for delicious food. That means you should eat the food as a medicine, not for to fulfill or to quench the taste buds. That is what the understanding. So how should we eat food, and how much we should take the food, and in what sense, in what you say, attitude we should consume the food, has been told beautifully here. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu.